we are, kids. We're back, and we're with Erik Everett. So Erik is a former Eagle. How you doing, Erik?
Good. How are you?
Great, great. Erik is in Sweden right now. Erik, what town in Sweden are you in right now?
It's called Uppsala.
Uppsala. That's awesome. What's the weather like today?
It's actually very nice. It's for us anyway. It's 70 degrees, sunny.
It,
People would be outside if it wasn't coronavirus season. But yes, it's actually very nice.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, let me tell you kids a little bit about Erik. So Erik went to Cypress Woods. He went to Cypress Woods for fourth and fifth grade. This is about 13, 14 years ago now. From there, he went on to Safety Harbor Middle School. He went to, he actually, when he was a Safety Harbor student, he came back to Cypress Woods as a guest speaker, like I encourage many of you kids to do. And Erik actually did that with a friend of his, and they gave a great little chat when he was an eighth grader, if I recall correctly. So then he went to Palm Harbor High School, entered the IB program, and then his life took an interesting turn, just like Erik, this interesting person that you're going to talk to. So Erik has the distinction of being, I think, or at least at that time, the only IB graduate that didn't go to college. Is that right, Erik?
For my class, that was true.
Okay, well, there you go. So
Much,
go
yeah.
ahead.
It was a very unusual decision. I got a lot of grief from my teachers, but
Well,
it
well,
was the right one.
let's pick it up there. So, and we can come back to it. Tell the kids briefly, what decision did you make?
Well, my decision was between going to college, which was something that I'm going to college now. It's something that I've always wanted to do. A lot of my friends are going to do it, uh, or do this thing that I've always dreamed of doing, which was becoming a professional tennis player. And I think a lot of people can relate to that in that when you're a kid, like when you're in fourth and fifth grade, you see someone on TV or uh, maybe you know somebody who's doing something really cool and they get a lot of attention for it. And for me, that was becoming a professional tennis player. Um, so as a professional athlete, you only have so many years that you can do something. And I knew that if I wanted to take this step and really pursue a dream that I had, that this was the moment to try to do that, despite the fact that everybody else was doing something different. So
That
that's the reason why I did it. I wanted the glitter to come down to hold the trophies to go
well,
to the parties with all the famous people.
well, that's you know what. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we're going to come back to the tennis part of your life
Yeah.
in this interview, but from Erik's moment as a professional tennis player, it was more than a moment, several years actually. Uh, then he has a different turn that his life has taken, which has led him to where he is right now, going to college in Sweden. So that's Erik's background, and we're super happy to have him with us. Super proud to have him with us. But Erik, I wanted to ask you, what do you remember about PE at Cyprus?
I remember that it was fun. I enjoyed being in class, but I didn't enjoy sitting down. So I always liked going outside, being with my friends, playing basketball, playing foursquare, just running around. Um, and I also remember that the coaches during PE always had a plan somehow. I think you didn't realize that when you were in fourth and fifth grade, but they were always teaching you something about teamwork or communication. Uh, yeah, and I learned a lot of things as well.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I appreciate your acknowledgement of that because sometimes if you walked into some of our PE classes, you might put your hands up in the air and go, "What the heck is going on here?" But there's always something going on. There's always an idea behind what we do. Uh, Do you remember, kids? I want to tell you guys, for a long, long time, Erik held the record of on the pacer test at Cypress Woods when he ran 84, and he ran. Now, the only two people have ever run more than that since Erik left, and I want you to recall that day if you can. Do you remember that day?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a proud achievement of mine. Uh, I mean, I knew that it was the pacer test, so I definitely prepared. I had the correct shirt. I had on shorter shorts, so I was ready to go the distance.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, I mean, when you do the pacer test, I think everybody who's done it, you got to have the right attitude. You got to know that it's gonna hurt a little bit. But I was pumped for it.
You know, we were talking with Coach Neil Collins. He coaches the Tampa Bay Rowdies, our local professional football team and soccer team, and he says he refers to something called the pain barrier, and he said sometimes you just got to push through that pain barrier. That pain barrier will stop most people. So I think that might be what you were just referring to.
Yep, that's a barrier that if you play professional sports, you have to accept that as part of the job. But I wouldn't just say that it's solely in the realm of sports where you'll meet that. If you want anything, it'll require you to push through what you think you can handle in order to get where you want to go.
That's awesome. You know, it's awesome you just said that because another thing Coach Collins said was most of what you do, if it's worthwhile, isn't glitz, isn't glamour, but you've got to push to get to those moments, and it's mostly work. So you're just saying the same thing that he did, and that's pretty cool to hear that. Uh, Erik, I've sent you that clip of our kids doing Focus on Achievement Night, our presentation from last year. Now, we didn't do anything like that when you were a student at Cypress. You watched it. What is your reaction to watching the kids do their exercises?
My first reaction was that you guys are pretty good at dancing. You're better than me. But I think what I see when I look at that is like a group of people that are working together to achieve something, which makes sense. It's Focus on Achievement Night, and you guys are all like you all care about what you're doing. You're working together. You're communicating, maybe not verbally, but non-verbally. It's very impressive.
That's
I
awesome.
thought.
Those are some traits that you have learned to use, I'm assuming, in your path along the way. Is that accurate?
Yep, definitely. I mean, working as a team. Now, tennis is more of an individual sport, but you you can't get anywhere without having a good group of people around you. And if you're a tennis player, you're kind of your own CEO of yourself and of the people that are trying to help you to get there. So you have to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and um, yeah,
Even
that
in even
that the
in
communication is good.
even in tennis, you've got a coach, you've got people, you've got to live somewhere. You know what, Erik? What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the tape now, and we're going to pick it back up for part two of our interview, and then we'll go into your professional tennis career. Okay?